This is the first event ever organised for all marques of Lotus. All 12 of the British Lotus car clubs had a hand in it. It's just a pity the Lotus company itself didn't take part. The weather outside was perfect, not that anything would have put off the 5,000 buffs from all over the world. So what's so special about Lotus?
I admired Colin Chapman and I admired his engineering skills, and he had a lot of new innovations in engineering and cars, and they've spread to road cars as well as racing cars. They have got a life of their own, these Lotuses. There are difficulties with them, but nevertheless they're nice eventually to have and own. And they're British, which is good too.
The Mark VI was their first production car proper, built in the early 50s. Originally fitted with a modified Ford Consul engine, 110 were built. No residual bits of Chapman's first Austin 7 here, though you can see where that characteristic bullnose comes from. The Mark XIV was a double first, the first fiberglass monocoque construction coupe, and for the first time Chapman gave a car a name, the Elite. This GT was launched at the 1958 Motor Show, the road-going versions being powered by the famous Coventry Climax engine. The Mark 25 was the first monocoque Grand Prix car. It set new standards in technology, dominating Formula One with Jim Clark as its driver in 1962. And I still say it's the most beautiful Lotus ever. Introduced in 1962, the Mark 26, or Elan, had a new backbone chassis and a 1588cc Ford twin-cam engine. 12,000 were made. The Europa was mid-engined with a Renault power unit. It was a GT sports car for the working classes. Great fun to drive, and it handled well, but very basic, and not all that much power or room inside. The Elan Plus 2 had a bit more room, and though the seats in the back had little real space round them, the car was more practical and opened up more markets for Lotus. Colin Chapman had come a long way since his first cars, and a few of those are still around.
This has got to be the highlight of the show. It's the oldest Lotus in existence, the Mark II. The Mark I, as far as anybody knows, doesn't exist anymore. If it does, nobody knows where it is. This was based on an Austin 7 chassis. It's got an Austin gearbox, a Ford engine, and lightweight aluminium bodywork, still the sit-up and beg style of the Austin 7, all built by Colin Chapman, in the days when motor racing for him was still a hobby. The front suspension comes again from a Ford. It's from a Ford Popular. Nigel, a fantastic find. How did you come by it?
Funnily enough, I hadn't particularly been looking for it. It just came up in a general discussion with somebody unrelated to Lotus, actually. And obviously I was interested to have a look at it. In fact, I didn't actually see it till last year because it was buried in a shed.
But it's no use just admiring your pride and joy. You've got to try it out. Well, did you ever keep all your toys in the box? Or did you play with them, show them to your friends, maybe even letting your best friend have a go? So it's on with the helmets and out onto the racetrack. Of course, Lotus were also famous for their engines. They were used in all sorts of production cars, which were often tuned up to be raced and rallied. The Lotus Cortina was perhaps the best known, with the easily recognisable Lotus logo sat square on top of the engines. Passers-by just stand and stare, and wish, and maybe dream a little of years gone by.
10 years ago, Lotus produced a special limited edition to celebrate their win in the World Championships. Just 100 cars were produced, and this weekend has provided the first opportunity for several of them to get together again, and here they are. Finished in black and gold, they're all identical, and in the same condition, it seems, as they left the showroom in 1979. Identical, that is, except for the individual special edition number on the side.
Over the weekend, it became apparent that it's not all easy going. Speculators are forcing prices up, and some less than honest are making up hybrid cars from mixtures of parts. But the rally itself was such a success that it will be held again next year.